You have worked for decades, saved what you could, and dreamed about a retirement filled with freedom and security. But here is the scary truth. One wrong move in retirement can undo years of careful planning. Most seniors are making at least one of these mistakes right now without even realizing it. And the cost, it is not a few dollars here or there. It could mean outliving your savings, slashing your lifestyle, or becoming dependent on others. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 retirement mistakes that could wreck your finances, and more importantly, how to avoid them. Mistake number 1. Claiming Social Security too early. Social Security feels like free money the moment you can grab it. For many, that is at 62. But here is the problem. Claiming early permanently reduces your monthly benefit by up to 30% for the rest of your life. Let us put it in real numbers. If you are entitled to $2,000 a month at your full retirement age of 67, I once met a man named Carl who grabbed his benefits at 62 because he was worried Social Security might run out of money. By 70, he regretted it deeply. His cost of living had gone up, his savings were shrinking faster than he planned, and that smaller check made every month a balancing act. How to avoid it, if your health and savings allow it, wait until your full retirement age or even 70 to claim. Every year you delay after FRA boosts your benefit by about 8%, giving you more financial breathing room later in life. Mistake number 2. Not accounting for healthcare costs when people dream about retirement. They picture beaches, hobbies, and time with family, not medical bills. But healthcare is one of the biggest expenses you will face, and ignoring it can sink even the best retirement plan. According to Fidelity, the average 65-year-old couple today will need about $315 just to cover healthcare costs in retirement, and that does not include long-term care like assisted living or nursing homes. Those can run $50,000 to $100,000 per year. I once spoke with a retired teacher named Linda who thought Medicare would cover almost everything. She was shocked when she had to pay thousands for dental work, hearing aids, and vision care, none of which Medicare covers. Then a knee surgery brought surprise copays and bills she had not budgeted for. Why this is dangerous? When you are on a fixed income, unexpected medical costs often mean pulling more from your savings, selling investments in a down market, or even going into debt. How to avoid it? Budget specifically for medical costs in your retirement plan. Consider a Medicare Supplement Medigate plan to reduce out-of-pocket expenses. Look into a health savings account, HSA, if you are still working. Withdrawals for medical expenses are tax-free. Start planning early for potential long-term care needs, either with insurance or a dedicated savings bucket. Healthcare costs are not a maybe in retirement, they are a when. Planning for them now is one of the smartest financial moves you can make. Mistake number 3, keeping too much risk in your investments. When you are in your 30s or 40s, a stock market drop is just a temporary setback. You have decades for your portfolio to bounce back. But in retirement, the game changes, and keeping too much of your money in high-risk investments can turn a bad market year into a financial disaster. This is called sequence of returns risk. If the market takes a big hit early in your retirement and you are pulling money out at the same time, you lock in those losses. Your portfolio might never recover, even if the market does. I knew a couple, Mike and Sharon, who retired in 2007 with most of their savings in stocks. When the 2008 crash hit, they lost nearly 40% of their nest egg in months. Because they needed income, they had to sell investments at a loss, and those shares never had a chance to bounce back. Why this is dangerous? Market crashes early in retirement can drain your savings years ahead of schedule, forcing you to cut spending or go back to work. How to avoid it? Keep 3 to 5 years of living expenses in safe, lower-risk investments like high-yield savings, CDs, or treasury bills. Gradually shift your portfolio toward a more balanced mix of stocks and bonds as you approach retirement. Use strategies like the bucket method so you are not forced to sell during market downturns. In retirement, protecting your money is just as important as growing it, sometimes even more so. Mistake number 4, underestimating inflation. Inflation is like a slow leak in your retirement savings. You might not notice it at first, but over time, it can drain your buying power. And right now, it is hitting harder than many seniors have seen in decades. Think about it. If your monthly expenses are $4,000 today, and inflation averages just 3% per year, in 20 years, you will need over $7,200 a month to maintain the same lifestyle. That is nearly double. I spoke with a retired teacher named Linda, who thought she was set for life with her pension and savings. 10 years later, rising grocery prices, higher utility bills, and exploding healthcare costs meant she was dipping into her investments more than planned. What she thought was a safe cushion was shrinking faster than she imagined. Why this is dangerous? Even if your savings look big now, inflation silently eats away at their real value, especially over 15 or 20 years. How to avoid it? Keep part of your portfolio in investments that historically beat inflation, like stocks, real estate, or Treasury inflation-protected securities. Tips: avoid locking all of your money into fixed income sources that do not adjust for cost of living increases. Review and adjust your spending plan every year to account for rising prices. Ignoring inflation is like ignoring termites in your house. By the time you see the damage, it is often too late. Mistake number 5. Claiming Social Security too early for many retirees. Social Security is the biggest guaranteed paycheck they will ever get, but grab it too soon and you could be leaving tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. Right now, you can start collecting benefits as early as age 62. But doing so permanently reduces your monthly check by up to 30%. I met a couple, John and Mary, who retired early at 62 because they wanted more free time. Within a few years, they realized that smaller Social Security checks were forcing them to pull more from their investments. That extra strain meant their retirement savings would not last as long as they planned. Why this is dangerous? Taking benefits early locks you into smaller checks forever, and it can trigger higher taxes if you are still working part-time. How to avoid it, if possible? Delay claiming until full retirement age or even until 70. Every year you wait after full retirement age boosts your benefit by 8%. A guaranteed return you will not find anywhere else. Use other savings or part-time work to bridge the gap instead of drawing Social Security too soon. Think of Social Security like a fine wine. It gets better with age, and rushing, it can leave you with something less than what you deserve. Mistake number 6. Not planning for healthcare costs. If you think Medicare will cover all your medical bills in retirement, you are in for a painful surprise, both physically and financially. The average 65-year-old couple today will spend over $300,000 on healthcare during retirement. That is not just doctor visits and prescriptions. It is dental work, vision care, hearing aids, and the big one, long-term care. Medicare does not cover most of those, and private insurance can be expensive. I spoke with Linda, a retired teacher who thought she was set for life. She had a small pension, Social Security, and some savings. But then her husband needed hip surgery and months of rehab. Even with Medicare, the out-of-pocket bills topped $40,000 in 1 year. They had to sell their second car and cut back on travel just to keep up. Why this is dangerous? Healthcare costs in retirement are like a slow leak in a boat. You might not notice at first, but over time, it can sink your entire financial plan. Unexpected medical events can drain savings faster than market downturns. How to avoid it? Set aside a dedicated healthcare fund, ideally in a health savings account, HSA, if you qualify before Medicare. Research supplemental insurance plans to cover gaps Medicare leaves behind. Plan for long-term care, either with insurance or a strategy for self-funding. In retirement, it is not the fun expenses like vacations that wreck budgets. It is the medical bills you did not see coming. Mistake number 7. Ignoring inflation. If you think prices are high now, imagine what they will look like in 15 years. Inflation is the silent thief of retirement. It steals your purchasing power slowly, year after year, until one day you realize your dollar buys half of what it used to. Take groceries. In 2000, a gallon of milk was about $2.75. Today, it is more than double that, and in another 15 years, it could double again. The same goes for utilities, insurance, and especially healthcare. If your retirement plan does not account for inflation, you are basically planning to get poorer every year. I spoke with Mark, a retired engineer. He had $500,000 in savings and thought it would last forever. But after 10 years of rising prices, his expenses outpaced his income. His travel plans were canceled, and he had to dip into his emergency fund just to cover property taxes. Why this is dangerous? Inflation does not just hit your wallet, it changes your lifestyle. Without adjustments, you will have to cut back on things you once enjoyed. or take on unnecessary risk chasing higher returns. How to avoid it? Invest part of your portfolio in assets that can grow faster than inflation, like stocks or real estate. Consider annuities or bonds with inflation adjustments. Regularly review and update your budget to reflect current prices. Retirement can be the best years of your life, or the most stressful, depending on the choices you make today. Avoid these 7 mistakes, and you will give yourself the gift of security, freedom, and peace of mind. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a new tip. And if you want even more ways to protect your money, click the video on your screen right now. It is packed with strategies you can start using today.